Hi everyone, how's it going? Peter here. I thought maybe I'd put up a little not a tutorial, but kind of show something that you wouldn't normally see about Mikuni carburetors and point out some of the ways that it operates and what is involved in its operation and things. And this cutaway, I hope, kind of demonstrates that. I'm not going to get into the actual mechanics of the operation. What I'm going to do is point out the passages and the circuits that are operated by those passages or operate through those passages. So, for instance, see if I can get this right. This is your inlet needle and seat assembly, and the part that the line connects to would be up here out in space where it's cut away. This is an air correction jet. This is the passage that's in the front of the air bell. It passes through to here, which if you look closely, I don't have a needle jet handy, but there's a hole in the front of the needle jet body. And what there is inside of the needle jet, there's a well down inside here that the fuel accumulates in. When the fuel bowl is full of fuel, it gets into the bottom of this. And that air correction, it allows tuning the way this vaporizer shield, this piece here, is cut away. If you notice, the back of it is cut away. So if you have a needle jet or are familiar with them, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it allows the vaporization, the atomization here. This controls the amount of air mixed with it. So this jet is what regulates it, and they're little tiny things. They are the same thread as this pilot jet. This pilot jet is here, and of course this well is down in the fuel, and it passes through this passage here, this little tiny passage, and then it also, most carburetors have both of these passages. There are a few of these carburetors, Mikuni type carburetors, that don't necessarily have both of these passages. And then this is a long, it's called enamel type hex main jet. And not to just, I'm not dragging anybody here, I'm just making a point. When the throttle slide is all the way open, all these jet circuits are active. So it's not a big change when this happens, but if you change your pilot jet, it can, not to a big degree, but it can affect your overall jetting. That's why a lot of times, people will get overwhelmed because of the tuning aspects. And this air correction jet can make a world of difference too. And the reason is the way that the fuel comes out of this discharge point can make all the difference in the world. If this air correction jet were blank, solid fuel would come out of here. Whereas if you take this out and had just this open passage, there'd be a great deal of air mixed in, and you can imagine the vaporization. But what happens with that is it can be over vaporized, so to speak, be oxygenated too much. The density would get low, and that's when you get issues with pinging, or the engine runs funny at a certain throttle opening, but it runs good everywhere else. And that's hence the name air correction. There's people that'll tell you these aren't necessary, they don't do anything. That's fine, people have their opinions. My experience has been this is a tuning necessity. When you get a needle jet that's pretty correct, but the next one up or the next one down doesn't really straighten it out. And that's when you go to this air correction, and that helps you get your vaporization tuned. Now, not shown here is the tapered needle that goes down inside this needle jet to meter the fuel. That's a whole subject on its own, mainly because the Mikuni needles, Mikuni makes needles that can have up to 3 tapers, and there may even be more by now. I'm a little bit rusty on my Mikuni updates, but all that together, plus the needles with the 3 and 4 tapers, 3 anyway, but you can have a single taper from one to the other end of the travel. You can, of course, have a 2 and 3, and those vary a lot of things. The fuel delivery, the way it's delivered, the fuel curve itself is determined by the needle. So there's several things going on inside this carburetor, but that's just a little, I guess, not a tutorial, but I don't know what to call it. But there it is, and thanks for watching.